7.3, multiplying, dividing rational expressions. So the idea here is to factor out and cancel. Factor out, cancel, you can do it with numbers, you can do it with expressions. For example, in this particular one, I would try factoring that numerator and denominator and see if you have a cancellation. X plus minus 4 and 3, double checking that inner term. 3x minus 4x is negative x. And this is the difference of squares. So it's plus 3 minus 3. And you can see that now that you're multiplying the factors, you can cancel these out by dividing them out. And therefore, the answer is x minus 4 over x minus 3. You can do something similar with just looking at letters that can cancel here. So what you're basically doing is looking at which ones cancel altogether. So in my opinion, just look at the numbers first. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 2 goes into 6 3 times. Then look at your x's. There are 2 x's on the top and 1 on the bottom. That means it's going to be 1 x on the top. And then y's. How many do you have on the top? Whoops, I forgot about this x. To the 5th. So that means that this x goes into those 2 x's 1 x time, and that x plus 5 more x's is going to be 6 x's. And then the y's, this is your cancellation. Y goes into y, and then this is going to be keep the larger number and subtract out the smaller. 3 minus 2 is 1, or you can think 2 y's on the top, 3 on the bottom, leave 1 on the bottom. So that means that you're going to have y to the first. That means that altogether you have 9x to the 6th over y. Looking at this problem, again, it's a factoring type of problem. So on the top, looking at 5x, 1 minus x. And let's see, on the top here, x minus 2, x minus 3, x minus 3, x minus 1, and 5x. So now that everything is multiplied and you have just factors, 5x goes into this 5x one time. And this is an x minus 3 goes into this x minus 3 an even amount of time. Now look what we have here, a 1 minus x and an x minus 1. A little bit of work off to the side. 1 minus x is the same thing as pulling out a negative 1 and getting negative 1 plus x, or negative 1 times x minus 1. If you distribute this through, you're going to see you get right up above. Now the reason why I did this is because I can actually cancel these. If I rewrite this as a negative x minus 1, that's the same thing. Now these will cancel, and I'm left with that negative on the top. So everything on the bottom canceled, and it's left with a negative x plus 2 as you distribute that negative through. You also have types of problems where you have finding a product, and you can have a sum of cubes here. Remember that the sum of cubes is factored in this manner. So in other words, I can rewrite that as x plus 2, right? This is 2 to the 3rd power, x squared minus 2x plus 9 by following this pattern. On the top, it's x minus, not 9, but 4. Oh, that's kind of bad. Anyway, this doesn't get factored, but you really don't care to factor it. Now I know that the top and the bottom here cancel out, and so you're just left with x minus 7 over x plus 2. Finished. And you can also divide certain problems. So on the top again, I'm going to go ahead and try to factor that. Well, I can pull out a 2 first of all. So it becomes 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. And then on this side, I can multiply by 1 over that, which means it's 1 over 2x times x plus 1. All right, so I want to simplify that just a little bit, which means I'm multiplying here, all the way through. I can see that this 2 is going to cancel with that 2, but I'm not exactly sure about that being factorable. So that's the next step is, can I factor that top? You're left with a 3x and an x. And the question is does this equal the middle term? Negative x plus 3x is 2x, so I guessed right. And that means that this is 5x squared times 1 over x plus 1. Again, multiplied, that is going to cancel, and therefore you're left with 3x minus 1 over 5x squared.